Chris Brockman rejoining. Chris, I just had an amazing chat with Dilfer where I got a couple of things out of it. He's essentially working with Tua in a Jordan Palmer type role, in a throwing coach type role. He said at one point that he's tried to stay out of that lane because he doesn't want to take business away from anybody. But as you know, we've had this conversation on the show with him before. He goes way back with Tua to the Elite 11. He's known him for a very long time. Tua asked him, do this for me. And he mentioned at one point, Trent, that he and Ken Wisenhunt, the former Arizona Cardinals head coach and Chargers offensive coordinator, Steelers offensive coordinator, have worked through different variations of plays and playbooks and studying, and that they've remade his base, that the lower part of his body and his base that they've remade. And he said that Tua is even better than he was before. Now,
what does that mean?
I know, which would be remarkable if this is borne out by NFL play. But it just struck me. Trent just jumped through the screen in the same way that Tua jumps through the screen, or jumped, the wattage level, as I mentioned, when he stepped on the set at the Super Bowl. For us, I got to tell you, just hearing that and coaches seeing the footage that they're putting more and more out of, and Trent did tell me that the footage that showed up on Tua's feed, Tua chose, but they kind of put out some footage that showed his lower body and his legs and his hips moving in a very healthy manner. They chose that on purpose to put that out there, that more and more teams are going to be talking to him and seeing this stuff. Having heard that from Dilfer, I'm not going to go out and say that the Bengals are going to put Tua atop their board. I'm just right.
Right.
I'm just going to review once again to get ready for that conversation, that it's going to be before the draft, 2 weeks before. In the next several weeks, we're going to hear that conversation chirp a little louder. I don't think the Redskins are going to be the spot at 2. I heard what Dilfer had to say. Any Lions fan has got to be doing cartwheels because somebody's going to hop up to 3. The Dolphins need him. The Chargers clearly are making their quarterback play post Brady going to the Buccaneers all about drafting somebody if they're not jumping for Cam or Jameis right now. Clearly they're going to be in that mix. It's going to be a free-for-all. Who wants Tua? And if I'm the Lions, they are going to make a killing at 3, and still get the player at either 5 or 6 that they want at 3.
It's crazy. And Rich, we're 4 weeks from tonight.
Right.
Is April 23rd is when that name is going to be announced, number 1. And we expect it to be Joe Burrow, but like you said,
I'm telling you, that conversation's about to be had.
I don't know, man.
You're going to hear it. It's going to show up on you. Everybody's going to show up on your phone as a badge, an alert from whatever app of you're following for your sports. It's going to come. I just know it. But Burrow lit up the room too at the combine, and he is dynamic and amazing. But Tua, I think, is going to prove to everybody that his medical is not an issue. And just listening to Dilfer and how excited he is, and that's just normally the way he talks. I just see it coming. The Tua shooting up draft boards even more. But when it all comes down to it, I'd be stunned. And I know it's a month to go, and you can't say this sort of stuff. Stunned if the Lions pick at 3. I'd be stunned that they don't trade out. That somebody's going to jump up and go get Tua as soon as they possibly can. And the Lions will be sitting there at 5 and 6 and get whoever they want and have a whole host of draft choices because their phone is going to be ringing off the hook about this kid. I really do.
I mean, as we talked about with the trade of Darius Slay, they already have 5 or 6 in the top 85. And with this spot at number 3 being open for business now, they're going to add even more to that.
Oh, I think so. And then it's one of the deepest drafts in memory. So, all right, that was the conversation we just had with Trent.
Love it. Awesome.
Now let's get to what the commissioner of baseball told our boy, the Magical Van Peasy on ESPN.
Yes, yes. We were talking about yesterday. Scott Boras made some news where he thinks that Major League Baseball still could have a 162 game schedule, with the World Series taking place around Christmas, postseason in December at venues in Southern California. So Rod Manfred was with Scott Van Pelt last night and said that baseball will be back and will be part of this country's recovery, adding that nothing is off the table as the sport outlines its plan to return from this postponement, saying, quote, "The one thing I know for sure is baseball will be back. Whenever it's safe to play, we'll be back. Our fans will be back, and our players will be back." He's optimistic that at some point in May that they're going to gear back up. But again, he doesn't know that for certain. And the goal is to get as many regular season games as possible. And they're trying to figure out how to do that.
I just don't see how it's possible right now. But I love hearing that. Any light at the end of the tunnel, I'm going to take. At some point, the Red Sox punishment's going to be coming out too. So I don't know when baseball is going to be making that announcement. They said that they would make it before opening day, which would have been coming up.
Today was opening day. Yeah.
I really wish that would have been the case, that baseball could have opened today. Clearly not. I'd sign for July 1st right now because that would obviously mean so much for so many people in this country. But I just don't know if they do it with players in front of no fans. But like I said, any light at the end of the tunnel is something I would take.
Yeah. He kind of shot down Scott Boras's idea, saying we're probably not going to be able to do a full 162 game season. But he did, like he said, nothing is off the table in terms of how creative they're going to get to save as many games as possible.
Well, I hope that's the case. Now, you ready to get Del Tufo in here?
Of course, my favorite part of the day.